A unary operation is where you have one input and one output, and a binary operation is where you have two inputs and one output. An operation in maths can be thought of as a type of processing or a function even. So in a unary operation, we have, let's say we have a number that's an input. Let's use the number 3, and the process is, let's call it a tripling machine. So this box shape is a machine that triples whatever is input into it, it's fed into it. So I can take 3, I can triple it, and the triple of 3, or 3 times 3 is 9, and it pops out as 9. Okay, so whatever you put in, triple it and it pops out 3 times as that. So that's one thing that happens to it. That's why we use the word unary on it. Unary comes from the Latin stem for one. Even the word one sounds a bit like unary or or in Spanish it's actually uno, and so on. Obviously we have other unary operations. You can have whatever comes in, add 2 to it, or you can have a common one is whatever comes into it, let's square it. So if I put in 5, for example, and I throw it in, throw it into the machine, it will crunch, 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 clutter, 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 and it'll make it into 25, and 25 is the output. And there's other unary operations, there's loads of them in mathematics later on. In secondary especially, you will find in trigonometry the sine of an angle, cosine, tangent, etc., etc. You can take logarithms, for example, so one input, one output. This leads on to binary. Bi, again, comes from a Latin word, so bi means 2 really. So 2 things, 2 inputs and 1 output. Let's call this particular machine, which takes 2 inputs, let's call it the adding machine actually. Adding machine. So I can input the number 6, input the number 2, and the machine adds them, and we get the output of 8. There are the 4 main operations in maths are actually binary operations. So that would be multiplying is also a binary operation, to take 2 numbers and multiply them and get an output. Division and subtraction as well. Division and subtraction, however, are non-commutative, so the order in which the operation happens is important. And division, additionally, you can't, dividing by 0 is undefined. So but other than that, yes, they're binary operations. And of course we don't have to stop at binary. You can have ternary operations with 3 inputs and more than 3 inputs and so on, but the most common operations in maths are the unary and binary, and we can use the binary operations one on top of another to stack them and come up with the associative field axiom, for example, which we'll also cover later on. And we'll cover commutative, non-commutative, etc. as well later on. So that's all gonna come up in separate videos. But yes, to summarize, really, unary operation, an input, some sort of operation, 1 output, 1 input, 1 output. Binary operation, 2 inputs, some sort of operation, and 1 output.